It was a quiet Saturday morning on May 26, 1990, in Wellington, Florida. Most families in the small town were enjoying a relaxing start to their weekend, including 40-year-old Marlene Warren. She was at home with her son Joey and two of his friends, who had stayed the night. Marlene answered it, expecting maybe a neighbor or perhaps a delivery, but what she saw left her confused. Standing at the door was a person dressed in a full clown costume. He was holding a bouquet of flowers and a balloon. Marlene barely had time to react before the clown pulled out a gun, aimed it at her face, and pulled the trigger. The boys had spent the night watching TV and eating snacks, and now Marlene was preparing breakfast for them in the kitchen. But what no one knew was that these would be the final moments of Marlene's life. She collapsed on the spot. Joey and his friends ran to the door, only to see the clown calmly walk back to a white Chrysler LeBaron and drive away. Marlene was rushed to the hospital, but tragically didn't survive. Her murder shocked the entire community, not just because of the violence, but because of how bizarre and terrifying it was. A clown, a smiling, harmless symbol of fun, had just become a killer. When police began investigating, witnesses confirmed seeing the clown shoot Marlene. Investigators found the car abandoned not far from the scene. Inside were synthetic orange hair fibers, later determined to be from a wig. The car was also reported stolen. Police started digging into local costume shops, hoping to find where the clown outfit came from, and soon they did. One shop owner remembered selling a clown costume to a woman not long before the murder. Her name Sheila Key. At first glance, Sheila didn't seem suspicious. But things got a lot darker when detectives learned she worked with Marlene's husband, Michael Warren, and not just that, but they were reportedly having an affair. Marlene and Michael's marriage had been on the rocks. They'd married back in 1972, but in the last few years, Michael had grown distant. Marlene had even talked about separating from him. But here's the thing, most of the couple's valuable property was in Marlene's name. If something happened to her, everything would go to Michael. That was the motive. At least, that's what investigators started to believe. But without enough physical evidence back in 1990, police couldn't make an arrest. Sheila and Michael eventually got married, moved to Virginia, opened a restaurant, and lived under the radar. Sheila even changed her name to Debbie. You might think that's the end of the story, but it wasn't over, not by a long shot. Marlene's son, Joey, never stopped fighting. He yelled in court, saying justice had not been served. He would call the police station again and again, demanding justice. And then in 2014, 24 years after the murder, something incredible happened. The case was reopened, thanks to new DNA technology. Investigators tested the hair from the getaway car again. After nearly 3 decades, the woman behind the clown mask was finally in handcuffs. But she denied everything. She loved clowns, she said, and believed dressing as one would make the crime look random, like the work of a serial killer. She thought no one would ever suspect her. The case dragged on for 6 more years, until 2023, when Sheila finally confessed. This time, they got a match. A woman disguised as a clown, using laughter and joy as a mask, hiding a deadly motive under. It's the kind of story that reminds us that the scariest monsters are often the ones who hide in plain sight. And thanks to good behavior, she was released after just a year and a half. Total time behind bars, around 8.5 years. For a cold-blooded, planned murder, this case remains one of the most shocking in true crime history.